Welcome everyone to the GSM's Pride Spotlight. This week I have Lauren Sutter.
Hello.
Say hello to the camera.
Hello.
And everyone, those beautiful faces at home.
Okay, hello.
Are you nervous, Lauren?
A little bit.
Why?
Do you not know how intense you are?
Yeah,
As
I know
a person,
intense.
you are very intense, so that makes me nervous.
All right, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Okay, let's start off. So, how old are you, Lauren?
20.
Okay, so you're not legally able to drink, right?
In the UK, I am.
Correct, that is true, but you live in the United States.
Unfortunately, not yet. We still have one more year left.
So, you grew up in California, correct?
Yes.
Did you live in any other states when you were younger, or just California?
Nope, just
Whereabouts?
California. In the Los Angeles area, Los Angeles County. Born and raised.
Long Beach, Inglewood?
El Monte. It's about...
Where?
El Monte.
Oh, El Monte.
Yeah, it's
I
about...
thought you said Armani. I was going to say, I didn't know there was a place called Armani.
It's about 25 minutes-ish from the main city of downtown.
Beachside or mountainside?
There's hills. I mean, it's like 30 minutes from the beach, too. So 30 minutes in each direction, and you're hitting desert or city or beach.
Yeah.
So it's really nice.
So it's kind of central.
Yeah.
Were you like north of LA?
South.
Of LA? Did you ever get race cars down Pacific Highway?
No comment.
So yes then. What did you race?
Sean's Miata. We've gotten
Okay, I said, did you race anything?
I didn't, you know.
What did you race against?
I don't remember, actually.
Did you get pulled over by the Pacific Highway?
Not by racing, just by going too fast one day. California Highway Patrol, they really look out for those speeders there.
So both your parents live in California?
Mm-hmm.
In a similar area?
So my mom still lives in El Monte in the house that I grew up in, and my dad lives in the valley in the opposite direction.
Is that like the rich area?
Well, every area is going to have their rich people and their poor people. My dad lies somewhere in the middle.
Is that like the hills?
It's the valley. You can have
Sounds
these
like
ghetto,
the Hollywood Hills to me.
you can have ghetto homes, but you can also have these multi-million homes, all within the same, block.
Yeah. So, high school?
Mountain View High School?
College?
No.
No college?
No college.
So what was your first job out of high school?
Well, I actually worked at Del Taco while I was still in high school. I was 16 when I got the job, and I did that for 2 years. And since I graduated high school early, in 2018, when I graduated, I already had the full-time job.
How'd you graduate school early?
Do all the work that they give you, and they basically give you the answers, so it's very much doable. I think the only thing that I did different than most is I took 2 English classes my senior year.
So in this country, you can graduate early?
Mm-hmm.
Technically. They don't advertise it because they want the revenue.
Right,
Yeah.
they make money per head. So I had to get a parent to come in and authorize it, and they really didn't want me to do it because they go, oh, you're going to miss out on the experience. Well, I didn't miss out on anything. I can guarantee that.
So after Del Taco, what did you do then?
Well, I had a few odd jobs here and there. I worked at Target for a little bit. I worked at Ross. And then my boyfriend, Sean, actually helped me get into the body shop where he was working at as a receptionist.
So Sean, let's touch on Sean. He's from California too, or from St.
No,
Louis?
he's from St. Louis, born and raised.
What was he doing in California?
To get away from Missouri.
And then he decided to come back?
Well, it was a mutual thing. With COVID and everything, California is super expensive. So
is that really what brought you back here? Is because of COVID?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I lost my job at the body shop, and he was on reduced hours, and it just wasn't sufficient, and we didn't want to dig into our savings to, just live in a city that's still shut down. So we just decided, okay, we're going to go live with the parents out in Wentzville. Okay, great. And then we moved in with them and then moved out there shortly after.
So did you drive all the way back from California?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of time is that? 18 hours, 20 hours?
We did it. We stopped a few times, but if you don't stop, except for, gas and restroom, it's about 27 hours or so.
That's a long ass drive.
We drove 3 cars there, so it was tough. Tough for sure.
So then you made it to St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where did you first work when you first came to St. Louis?
Right here at Lufuse Ford.
What made you come to this dealership specifically?
Sean, once again, used to work as a porter at Lufuse Jeep Dodge Ram in O'Fallon.
Okay.
And he worked there for a few years before he moved out to California and told me, you should try Lufuse. They're a good company to work for. And I looked on the website and I had seen that they were hiring for a bunch of positions. So I actually just showed up at headquarters and I knocked on the door and it was locked. And I don't remember who, but somebody came and opened the door and said, hello, how can I help you? I said, I'm looking for a job. I saw that you guys had some positions open. I was hoping there was somebody I can talk to. And they go, well, you typically apply first and then you have somebody have you call you back and set up an interview. And then she told me that Randy Harmon was actually doing interviews that day and she was going to see if they can squeeze me in. And they did, without me having to apply.
So let's talk about that. You thought you was applying for a different job, is that correct?
Yes, so I went in with the intentions of doing clerical work, just working in the headquarters offices, doing something clerical related and office related. And then Randy Harmon, being the salesperson that he is, convinced me that I should try sales because my ultimate goal was to be in finance. But in order to be in finance, you have to learn the sales part.
So you're blaming Randy then, is what you're doing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
But he's a
Randy,
good salesman.
Randy, if you're watching, she's blaming you for the life she leads.
I'm blaming you for putting me in this position with Jason because oh my goodness.
So how many months have you been here?
It's been about 9 or so-ish.
I've put up with you for 9 months.
Yeah, and many more to come.
Jeez. There's a reason why we're doing this today.
Oh, okay.
So let's talk about the differences between working in California versus working in St. Louis, Missouri.
Well,
Because I gather they're totally different ways of lives.
sure, but as far as like working goes, every job is different. And I haven't had very much in my belt to tell you the job differences because they're completely different
Okay,
positions.
what about the people?
But the people, let me tell you, there's a lot of country folk and a lot of farming that goes on. I've never...
Where did you think we live?
I've never seen so many farmers in my life that need 1 tons and 3/4 tons, and I'm just like, that's
Well,
not
you
a
realize
necessity.
we sell trucks here. That's kind of what
Well,
happens.
I guess what I'm saying is there's definitely a difference, and you can see it in the way that people perceive themselves, in the jobs that they do in comparison to the ones that I would see where I was living.
Is it faster paced here or faster paced there?
No, absolutely not. It's fast-paced in California and very slow-paced here. I would say that this is retirement state for sure.
I assure you that's not true.
But it definitely...
Everyone I know who retired in Missouri has never retired in the state of Missouri. They always moved to somewhere else.
It definitely feels that way, though. It's a lot slower lifestyle. I mean, hell, even...
Well, that's funny you say that, though, because I've never lived in California. I've been there a couple of times. But you just get this impression that there it's very laid back and no one cares and they just do whatever they have to do and it is what it is.
I can assure you that that's not true. Have you seen Rush Hour? Anywhere between 7 o'clock
Oh, I thought you were talking
to-
about the movie. I was going to say, yeah, I've seen both of them.
No, Rush Hour. It's a real thing.
I
when
actually have
you're-
seen your Rush Hour, yeah.
It's horrible. Going into the city, it would take me from El Monte to Mid-City, Mid-Wilshire area. It would take about an hour and a half to get about 25 miles.
Yeah, I drove from San Diego all the way up to LA, and we stayed just off Rodeo Drive, and it was fine until we hit like Orange County, and then it was like took us forever.
Traffic.
Yeah, took us like 2 hours to get into the city.
So it's definitely something that I had to get used to, not having traffic and not having to leave at a certain hour to make sure that I get to my destination. There's never any issues. I think I've only encountered traffic maybe once since I've lived here.
That's kind of. Did you? This is totally random, but did you both say that St. Louis has got the second best drivers in the United States? I find that really hard to believe.
I would not agree with that at all. I would say California, for having so many people that drive without driver's licenses, do a hell of a lot better than the people here. I am sorry, but I despise
I don't dispute
the drivers here.
I don't know how St. Louis ever got that credit. Because as far as I'm concerned, it looks like you collect the tokens off the back of a cereal box and they give you a driving license without knowing how to drive a car. But that's just a British thing, I guess.
It's bad here.
Okay, let's talk about things right now for you at the store. How's things going right now?
Topsy-turvy, just like the industry and whatnot. I kind of hit a bump in the road. It's been about a couple of months that something happened, something changed within myself. Like you've mentioned, the confidence maybe has gone down a lot. I think I was on a high when I came here and I was selling cars in the beginning, and it was like, oh my God, I can do this. This is fun. This is great. And then somehow it just started to go down. But slowly but surely we're getting back up to where we need to be.
Do you know what that is? What happens is your confidence gets so big that you think you know the business and you just don't. So what happens is you try and skip steps. That's when you go down. And then that's when you have to get back to square one again and start back up the hill again.
Sure.
So we've talked about that. Mm-hmm. We don't need to go too in depth with it. So what's the plans for the future?
Make a lot of money.
So Sean's not in there?
Don't say that. Don't put words in my mouth.
I was kind of thinking generally speaking, not just...
Generally speaking, plans. Hopefully, purchase a house here in the next year or so. And, maybe marriage and kids is going to be a thing at some point.
Are you proposing on YouTube?
No. You're asking me what I foresee in my future, and this is where we're at.
What about from a professional standpoint?
And from a professional standpoint, I'm not too entirely sure. We have to see how it plays out here within the next couple of months, and if this is something that I ultimately want to pursue as a career, or if maybe, finance is in my future rather than just car sales, which it's still sales in its own regard. It's just a little bit different.
Let me ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, whereabouts on the gauge is your thoughts of staying here? And whatever your answer is, it doesn't make any difference.
Here at this particular store, or here within the business of car sales?
In the business.
Honestly, I would say I'm about 6.5, 7, just because there's so much uncertainty, because 1 month you can sell, 20 cars and have the greatest month ever and the biggest paycheck you've ever seen, more money than what you know what to do with. But then the next month you can have 2 cars out and you're struggling to pay your bills.
What about the store?
I like my team for the most part. I would say about 90% of them. And it's nice to come to work and know that you have people behind you.
So you'd say that's a 9 then?
For the store? Sure.
Yeah.
Right around there. 9, 10, right around there. I don't want to give it a perfect score because nothing's perfect, but I love management and their willingness to help me. And that's nice, coming into an environment that's so volatile, but knowing that you have the support behind you, and whether it be professional life or even personal life.
And we've kind of talked on that before. One of the videos we did, we touched on that a little bit. So that's really all I bet I've got for you. I know that was pretty painless, but you've had a pretty short life.
No pun intended, right?
I was going to say, that was going to be my next thing. It's unfortunate that you can't see, but Lauren's feet are not touching the floor.
You want to show them? Like,
I don't. Not gonna lie, yeah, I don't. But yeah.
My feet don't touch the floor.
But yeah, Lauren's feet are not touching the floor, so there was kind of a double-ended comment there, short line. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming in.
Sure.
Anything
Thank
you want to say to the people at home? You are a Spanish speaker. A couple of people have said a few things in Spanish. It's up to you, either way.
Jason's a great boss, and I really appreciate his dedication and hard work to all of the employees here at Lufus Ford.
This is not a paid advertisement.
It's not. It's a real.
If you want to pay me, though, that's fine.
I think you would have to pay me royalties for every time this video gets played.
Okay, we'll see. Well, thanks for joining me this week. As always, over at Lufus Ford, we can replace the car but not the customer, and I'll see you all next week.
Bye.